Well, hello, my stitchy friends, and welcome to Antique Needleworkers. My name is Shellie, and this is my channel about cross stitch and all my crafty endeavors, and I'm so glad you joined me today. Well, today, friends, is a floss tube, but not a normal floss tube. I had been promising you that I would come to you and we would start digging in the baskets. So, as the title said, basket, basket, what's in Shellie's basket? That starts today. So I have my heifer basket that you probably saw in the little tile, and within it I have all of my projects that are on my 2024 heifer board. And today it's just a cold Ohio day. It is just frigid, and there's no better time to just take a sit and go through the basket and talk to my stitchy friends. So today, before I start, I wanted to just say something. One of the most often commented comments on my videos are that you feel like when you are watching that you're sitting with your friend and we're just talking about stitching. And I just wanted to say thank you for that. Is the greatest of compliments, and that was exactly the aim. We're just sitting together sharing our stitching, and I know some of you are far away from any LNS, and a lot of you don't have any stitchy friends, and I'm so thrilled that you come here time and again and you find friendship and in community, and that is really the goal. I love my stitching, but I love our community just as much. And I just wanted to say in return to you, thank you for being my stitchy friends, and thank you for getting comfortable and sitting with me. And if I could have a cup of coffee with each and every one of you, I would brew it until the machine broke. So thank you for that, and I want you to know the feeling is mutual. And I wanted, after all of this time and seeing it every single video, I wanted to return that to you as well. So I just wanted to talk about that in the very beginning. So not too much has been up, just, you know, chugging along. Very cold weather, and been going to therapy and getting acupuncture for my neck and my back. I'm feeling a whole lot better. Still dealing with the trunk of my neck and my left shoulder, but so much better. Falling at middle age, it's no joke. So anyway, but I'm much better. And so you know, my grandmother Honey, who, if you've been with us for a while, you know that my grandmother was my mother's mother. Said she did not want to be called any grandmother names, and so I didn't have a grandma, I had a Honey. And so Honey used to have this saying, and I'm one of the last people in the family that uses it, but I grew up hearing it all the time. Maybe it's because I'm the only girl on that side of the family, but she'd always say, "Oh honey, listen, it'll be better before a cat lays an egg." And so I use that on every circumstance where things just are imperfect. So I bet you it will get better before a cat lays an egg. So anyway, so let's get to it. So I had some questions from the last video. What is heifer? So some of you are not on social media, and some of you don't know what that is. And the Floss Boston cousins, several videos back, had shared about how they were going to create their heifer board. And literally all that heifer is it is their version of WIPGO. And instead of WIPGO up there, it's HEIFR. Heifer, for them, they have a stitching group friend group, and they always say to each other, "Oh, don't be a heifer." You know, it's just a term of endearment and love to one another. And so of course that's their logo, and so they changed and created their own version of WIPGO, and they call it heifer. And it follows the same premise. You put your projects on here. There are 25 slots. 2 slots are called every month. You make the rules, and as I said on my other videos, yeah, I was drug into it kicking and screaming, and shame on me, because I have embraced this And as a non-monogamous, you all know I'm not a monogamous stitcher, and a very emotional stitcher. I stitch on whatever my mood screams out, you know, which project calls to me. And I have really, really embraced it, and I've loved it. I have met both of my goals for the month, and so I created those goals. And so I can continue on, and it just kind of puts some guardrails on the expressway for me. And it's funny, you get a little bit done while you're doing it. So anyhow, so that is what heifer is. And the basket that you saw in the picture is filled with the 25 projects. And I asked Christy if I could have permission. I copied the logo. They also have a Facebook group. I failed to say that. They have a Facebook group, and their logo is on the top with it's pink with the cow. You saw that. And so I copied that, and then I sized it to what would look appropriate on my basket. And then I have a laminating machine, and I laminated it, and I put a ribbon through it and stuck it on my basket. That way I know that basket right there, that's the heifer basket. So all 25 of the projects are in there, except for the 2 that were called this month. I put them back in there for the video. But the 2 that were called for this month, actually I had in my basket next to my couch that I work out of on a regular basis. And so anyway, they will go back in the heifer basket when I get 2 more calls next month. So without further ado, let's start digging. So anyway, on slot number 1 on the heifer board, I have Little House Needleworks, and it is Orchard Valley Quilting Bee. This has been a project for quite some time, and you know, you're going to have story time with Shellie on some of these. I had started this a couple years ago, and I have worked tremendously slow on it, and there's a big reason for that. As many of you know, I lead a ministry at our church, and we make items for the NICU and for local pregnancy centers, etc. But we used to have a quilting ministry that did a whole bunch of other things. Dresses for Haiti, quilts for the sick, etc. And there was a woman who came to the church in 2012, and her name was Miss Kay Brooks. And Miss Kay was a precious, precious, precious friend to me. I taught her to rug hook. She was like me. She was crazy about every single thing. And Miss Kay was diagnosed with cancer. And so when she was diagnosed with cancer, I picked up this project, and I was like, I'm going to do this, because if you notice, in this block there are 2 friends, and in this block there are 2 friends. So what I did was I changed it, and the names that are in there, I put my name in one block and her name in the other block, and I have the friends in the squares. And I wanted to do this to honor Miss Kay. And in May, she will be gone 3 years. And so slow chugging, because I think I've dragged my feet, because I have felt like I visit with her when I stitch this, even though she's in heaven and she can't hear me, see me, or anything like that. I know that, but see, I know why I picked to stitch this. And so I stitch a little bit, and then I shove it away. And so when heifer came up, I thought, you know what, now it's time. It's time for me to really put some work into it and get it up on the wall, and I can walk by and visit it every day instead of when I pull it out. But quite frankly, when she very first passed away, I couldn't pull it out at all. And so she came here, she sewed in the sewing ministry at the church, but every single Tuesday there were ladies the old ladies that went to the church, those people I love so much. Every Tuesday they would come here to the mill, and they would come upstairs, and we would all make a dish every single Tuesday. And we would sit around here. Some of us would quilt, some of us would crochet or knit. Some of us would cross stitch. It really did not matter. what we did, we just came up in this room and were together every single Tuesday, and we shared a meal together. And there is only myself and one of my group that are alive. Everyone has passed away. And so I think that working on this, and or the lack of working on it, is because those days are past, and those people that came here that were so dear to me, and those that I've lost from that group, you know, it's just hard. And so, but I think that I'm past it being hard, and I want to work hard, and I want to hang it up and pass by it and think wonderful thoughts. But isn't it funny how we stitch in memory of, and we stitch in honor of, and we stitch because people make us happy and they're our friends and our loved ones. And so yeah, that's why and how Orchard Valley quilting got into this basket. And I'll show you what I have done. If you can see, I have worked down the one side, but I've got the whole top done. And you'll see on this side it says Shellie. I absolutely love that middle border. And then over there it says Miss K. And this is on, this is a Jobelin, I believe. I've got it right here. It is. It's a 28 count Jobelin, and it's Queen Anne's lace. And I absolutely love this color. Susan from Keepsakes picked this out for me. And I think if you could see the modeling in person, it's perfect. But I wanted it on 28 count because I wanted it to be big. I didn't want it to be little. I wanted it to scream out at me and just think about my sweet friend. And so that is project number 1 in the first block on my hoverboard. So I am going to take the time, because there are 25 things here, to shove them back in their bags. Oh, I stuck the heifer chart in there. Gonna need that, won't I? I think that's probably what happened to that chart. A lot of you had mentioned that after I posted the last video, my missing blackbird chart. It probably is in a project bag, and the minute I get it done, I probably will find it. But so anyway, okay, so and the next one, oh, I'm so excited. I have not started this. This will be a brand new start. And it is Martha Walmsley. Is that how you say it? Walmsley, 1847, from Hands Across the Sea Samplers. I think that this is just absolutely breathtaking. I purchased this completely kitted up from Hobby House. And I have all, I'm just going to lift up my bag. I have all of the beautiful silks. And the fabric is 40 count Lollybrock by Tabby Cat. And so that is number 2 spot on my board. I just, one of the that had to have been Orchard Valley. The needle, it fell out of there. So let me stick that back in there. Oh my goodness. Okay, then the next one, the next item up is Elizabeth Jordan. This will be a brand new start, and it is from Queenstown Samplers. And I've talked about this one. When our guild did one of our online, our Zoom educational program, they were talking about eyeglass samplers from Baltimore. And this happens to be a Baltimore eyeglass sampler. I didn't even know that about this. I bought it because it was pretty. And yeah, so I ran up. I was like, oh my gosh, I have that. And so anyway, she is a stunner. Absolutely. I love those willow trees. And the colors are beautiful. I am stitching it with all of the called for DMCs. I have not started it yet. And I'm going to stitch this on 32 count Caravan Tan from Fortnite Fabrics, 32 count Lugana. And the color lends itself really well to what the picture of it looks like, and so that is that next sampler. I love those roses across that border. It's just absolutely beautiful. The greens and the pinks and the roses and the peachy colors, so pretty. So that's Elizabeth Jordan. That's spot number 3. And the next one, Carol Saltbox Stitcher. She was the inspiration for this. I purchased this just because of Carol. She showed it and I said, oh my goodness, Carol, I'm gonna have to stitch that. It's the 7 Sheep Sampler by the Scarlet House. Let me try to get this really good for you without, I will take it out of the bag. That really saves a lot of trouble. See all those sheep down there? So stinking pretty. So yes, this is absolutely beautiful. And I'm going to be stitching this with all of the called for DMCs. And then I am stitching this on 36 count Lakeside Linens Vintage Sand Dune. So very beautiful. I have a blanket here. I think this is a half a yard. Yeah, this is like a super blanket. This may be, no, actually I think this is a whole yard. I think this is a yard. No. It's a half. It's a half. But anyway, it's beautiful. Lakeside Vintage Sand Dune, 36 count. Carrie picked this up for me when she was at her LNS. There's a little honey hole for Lakeside, and so she gave me a call and yeah, got that. So the 7 Sheep Sampler is in place number 4. Isn't this fun? I wish I knew what was in your basket. Some of you are monogamous stitchers though, but I would still want to know what was in your, next to your stitching chair. That would be fun. Okay, and in spot number 5 on, this has not been started. I showed it to you on the last video. This is Elizabeth Ranikar sampler from the Wishing Thorn, 1845. I am doing this in honor of my grandson. Oh, he loves to fish. He's 6 years old and he's quite the little fisherman. And so, you see that boat? And I got all of the Belsois silks for this. They are absolutely gorgeous. I love that taupe and gray and cream. It's just a really pretty boy palette. And then I'm going to be stitching it on 32 count white Belfast linen. I got this completely kitted up from Burgette from the Wishing Thorn. And this is the fabric. And I just love it. It's so pretty. So that is number 5. And then number 6 is my birthday sampler. It's by Stacy Nash. It's the Be Kind sampler. And the hashtag for this, if you're stitching along for my birthday, is Shelley's Double Nickel Birthday Sal. And this, like I said in the last video, kindness is my word for the year. I want to stitch about it. I want to talk about it. I want to encourage it. I want to breathe it. I want to do it. I want to say it. I want to think it. And so I knew back when I picked this what my word was. And so I had very judiciously picked this. And again, it's Shelley's Double Nickel Birthday Sal is the hashtag if you're following along with that. I'm using all the called for Weeks Dye Works flosses. It has been started. And wait a minute, the fabric for this is 35 count Weeks Cocoa. And I've got the house done. I absolutely loved that it called for Algerian eyelets for the windows, but I did them in Smyrna's, taking Brenda from Brenda and the Cereal Starters. She's like, yeah, you can do Smyrna's. So I followed that rule. So anyway, I love that. So I've got the chunk of the middle done. So that's a good start. So that's number 6. And then number 7 is Though He Seemeth Sleeping by Lucy Beam. Such an absolutely beautiful, beautiful sampler. I love all the colorfulness. I showed you this last time. I'm going to show you again. I'm using all of the called for colors. I'm stitching it on 40 count Northumberland Sampler House linen. It is mousy brown. And here are, look at all of these colors. Look at all of the colors. Just as bright and cheery. It's, you know, I'm usually really primmy. I love this. And so this is where I'm at on that. It is started. So that is Though He Seemeth Sleeping. And that, it was number 7. Okay. The next item is number 8, and it is Matilda, and it came from Hands Across the Sea Samplers. I have it in my berry bag. It was in the big red box. I did not get that box, but my friend Rebecca Parker did, and we were at StitchCon, and bless her sweet heart, she was almost finished, and it was the 2nd year in a row she had inspired me, and I told her so, and she walked over and brought me the chart when she finished it, so bless her heart, that was so sweet. Isn't it good to have stitching friends? And this is Matilde. I don't know if it's Matilda or Matilde or Matilde, but you know, I'm close. But I love it. It's red and blue, and it's so very pretty. I am stitching this on 46 count needle and flax Brea. Christine from Hollis Hands Creates, she said, hey Shelly, you know that'd look really, really good on Brea. And so I took her advice, and I had some 46 at home, and I'm really thrilled with how it looks. It was originally stitched on, the model was stitched Creme Brulee by Tabby Cat. So I think Brea, it was an absolutely fantastic call for a substitution for that. And the colors I just picked from my stash, I'm using Cherry Cobbler and Wavy Navy from Classic Colorworks. So that is such a pretty one. Love the linen, love the linen. So beautiful. So that was Matilda, and that was day 8 and day 9. Oh, I love this sampler. This is W. Wallace by Red Barn Samplers. I love Ray Niles. I've had the honor of meeting her. She showed all of her models to me when I was at Amana last year, and this is absolutely stunning. It's beautiful, 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 beautiful. And I ordered this from the AntiqueNeedleworkers. I got the Gum Nuts silk conversion. Well, it's the gum nuts that are called for on the back there. But they do give a SWA 103, a SWA Surfina, DMC, and all of the other conversions. I did do the Gum Nuts, and it's wonderful, wonderful silks. And this is Weeks Dye Works Confederate Gray, and you know, I think it's 40 count. No, hold on just a second. Yeah, I think it's 40 count. And there's a little start on there. Got down the side border a little bit. got to enjoy those pretty silks. And I really will say, Ray, when I talked to her, she said, don't you think that the coverage of the gum nuts is beautiful? And I have to totally agree. It's absolutely beautiful silk, and love that very much. So that's W. Wallace from Red Barn Samplers. And that it was exclusively at the Attic. I'm not sure if that's lifted now or not, but they did have the silk packs at the time. So if that's something that you're interested in, you could just call out to the Attic and inquire on that. So that was day 9. Day 10. Oh, I started this just recently. It's Gilles Leger by GGR. Or no, it's by Reflet de Soie. Excuse me, I apologize. I was inspired a couple years ago. Deb from Country Stitchers was stitching this, and I just loved it. And back then I wanted to start it, and then I don't know what drugged my feet, but when I started the rose and the giant pear from Hands Across the Sea for Alicia from the Fanciful Flamingo's birthday, I was like, you know what, this one's got a big pear on it too. I'm just going to start that. And so I got it in, and look at that big giant pear. It's the same size as the house, but it's Gilles Leger, 1898. And interesting, in 1998, I gave birth to my daughter. And I think that instead of Gilles Leger, because you know I never put other people's names on my samplers, I think I'm going to put my daughter's name on there because she was born 100 years later. So that is a good idea. And I'm using all of the wonderful Soie d'Alger silks. Beautiful palette. And I do have a little start. Haven't worked on it since I showed it to you last. And it's on 36 count Fibrona Whim Cream and Sugar. And I had started that border, which is really kind of cool. It kind of looks like those eyeglasses from the eyeglass sampler. Just the way it loops and makes like a chain. So that is Gilles Leger. And that was number 10. Isn't it fun? It's like visiting friends when you dig in your baskets. Okay, number 11 is Salute to Abigail from Blackbird Designs. And I will show you that. So pretty. And it comes from the Sweet Land of Liberty book, if perhaps that would be something that interests you. And I am stitching this. I have a little pouch in the front of this bag. I'm stitching it with the silks. I have 2 projects in this bag, I'm sorry. 2 out of the same book. I'm using the Belle Soies, and I converted this myself. I'm using icing, poison apple, mare blue, and turquoise. Oops, oh, I almost threw that down. But they're absolutely, Belle Soie is one of my very favorite silks. I think it is so soft and so pretty and variegated to stitch with. It's really, I love it. And I'm stitching this on, well, Shellie, what are you stitching it on? I know that it's a needle and flax. I think it's Steinbeck. It is. It's 36 count Steinbeck from Needle and Flax. But so pretty, and the fabric is just wonderful. So that is Salute to Abigail. The other one, if you're interested, that I'm working on in that bag, it's not in my Heiferboard is America. And so that's the other one. I have 2 thread pouches in here so that I have them separated. So, but that is number 11. Okay, number 12. I love this stitch, and you've seen me talk about this before. This is my Tammy. Sorry about that. You know, at 20 minutes, I've said before, my camera, it decides that's enough. So anyway, Abecedarian by, let me pull this out. This was a summer school stitch, and it is by Lessons in Abecedarian by Brenda Gervais. And there are several charts. This is number 1. And you, let's see, this is number 2. Number 3. And number 4. Now, my Lessons in Abecedarian has been started a multiplicity of times because I hated my fabric. And so I kept starting it and kept pulling out and kept starting it. I was going to do it all as one. Then I decided, no, I'm not going to do it all as one. I'm using all the called for colors that are prescribed for it. I'm stitching it now on the one that makes me happy, and that is 40 count sand by Northumberland Sampler House linens from the UK, England. And my needle's in there. And but anyway, this is where that is at. This thing literally made me crazy. So I have stitched that and more like 4 times. And so, but I am very happy and sticking with it. And so that's why it made it onto my heifer board, because it's like, okay, now we're rolling with steam. Let's get her done. So that is chart number 1 for Lessons in Abecedarian. Okay, the 13th item is the beautiful Hannah Campbell. And I absolutely adore this. I had this on my scroll rods, and I took it off because I just, as much as I want to do it on the scroll rods, I want to throw it in a bag and take it with me if I want to go stitch. And that just really wasn't happening because of the fact that it was on the scroll rods. So I yanked it off the scroll rods. And this does have hanging threads on it because I try to, the border as I'm going along, you get a little bit of a cadence, and so I lave the threads. This is Hannah Campbell by Hands Across the Sea. And I am doing a beautiful conversion that the Shepherd's Needle out in Arkansas, in Little Rock, did for me. And it's all of the beautiful NPI silks. And I have them on a pretty thread board. Aren't they just gorgeous? And this is 36 count straw, I believe. 36 count weeks dye work straw. Yes, it is. And this is what I have done with all my hangy threads. I at last was working on that this basket of flowers, this urn of flowers. And so I love her. And Jo Florence on Instagram and on Facebook, she is, she did such a beautiful job doing Hannah. And then she took and made herself a drum. She used the border. And I want to do that too. We're just going to have to see how that goes. The whole entire, this is a hefty sampler, and pretty much that whole section is 1/1. And the verse is 1/1. I'm not afraid of 1/1. That doesn't bother me at all. But it will be intense, and so we will have to see if after I get this done, which will be what happens. I will get it done before I even consider doing more, but I aspire to want to do like Jo and do a little bit of the border and make a mini drum from it. But we'll just have to see about that. But you know, the best laid plans of mice and men, but that's a wish, a want. So that was Hannah Campbell, Hands Across the Sea samplers. Then number 14 is the Courage Sampler. This was the piece that Pam from Just Keep Stitching had started. She was celebrating her anniversary from cancer, and this was called out at StitchCon, and I purchased it. It touched my heart. It's by Praiseworthy Stitches. And Jamie from the Pink Stitchers, she has finished hers, and it was absolutely beautiful. I am doing mine on, and the colors that I chose, they show you different colors for different cancers. My father had liver cancer and passed away, and my father-in-law passed away from lung cancer, and so I'm doing this in honor of them. And so green is liver cancer and white is for lung cancer, and so that is what I'm stitching, my colors that I'm stitching with. And this is on 36 count needle and flax Dolly Madison, and Dolly Madison is absolutely beautiful. As a matter of fact, I bought the whole piece that they had at it is a bed sheet. I think this sincerely is a yard. I bought that at Keepsakes, and so I got that a while back. But anyway, that is Praiseworthy Stitches, the Courage Sampler, in honor of my father-in-law and in honor of my father. And also to celebrate Pam's being a survivor. What a wonderful, wonderful testimony that is, that she survived that so very long. I think it was 25 or 30 years. And that is anything, that is just monumental. And so anyway, I was so inspired by her. So that is where, that is spot number 14 on the heiferboard. And then spot number 15 is Elizabeth Manners, and that is from GGR. And I'm gonna show you. A lot of people call this Miss Manners. It's beautiful. And I brought it out not too long ago because I wanted to encourage our Ada Stitchers, because so many Ada Stitchers continually say, I just feel like everybody treats us like we're less than because we don't stitch on linen. And so I had heard that about enough that I said, you know what, I am going to pull, I had started this a long time ago, and I put it in my lineup because I wanted to show that, you know what, it's just a ground fabric, and I want to celebrate you. And so it was important enough to me that I put it in my hoverboard so that you would see it and be encouraged, all of you Ada Stitchers. And I'm doing it with all the called for colors. It's a combination of, well, I think it's all Simply Shaker gassed. It is. It's all with gassed. And I'm doing this on 16 count Picture This Plus Wren. And isn't she just beautiful? So all of you Ada Stitchers, Antique Needleworkers celebrate you, and this piece is in my lineup just because of you. So I think she's beautiful, and her fabric is lovely, and I love it. I love it, love it, love it. It's a comfort stitch. It's just a breeze, and so love it. So Elizabeth Manners, Miss Manners, was number 15 on my board. Okay, let's see, number 16, Every Opening Flower. I love this, and you, oh, all right, who did this come from? This was from Miss Manners. This is my little thread bag. You know, you get going on this, and you just leave, look, and then my working copy. Left it out too. Oops, my bad. Let me pack up, see, that's why I've got to make sure that I pack up good while I'm sitting here, because this could be a real train wreck. Okay, Every Opening Flower, number 16 by the beautiful Brenda Sherbet. Isn't this beautiful? I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. I love the top border so much. I'm using all the called for colors, and I'm stitching this on a linen from Farm Girl Dry Goods. I got this as a kit, and I think actually, let me sit down for just a second. I think it's Old Amana. If I may be wrong, but I think it is. I know it's 36 count. Look at my pretty thread board. Isn't that pretty? Sometimes I just love a good thread dial, and it's had birds on it. But I love this. These little scissors I put in there, they stick to that magnet really good. I'm supposed to be looking for what fabric this is. I'm just squirreling all over. I do know it's 36 count, and I believe it's Old Amana. And I got it from Farm Girl Dry Goods. I know that she doesn't have this kit anymore. So anyway, called for colors. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. They are a combination of Classic Colorworks and a combination of Weeks Dye Works. Okay, enough talking, Shelly. And this is very wrinkly. I am so sorry. But look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Maybe if I give it a little tug, it won't look as wrinkly. So there's a really good start. At least the whole a little over half of the right-hand side. So very, very beautiful. Love this. I love Brenda Gervais. I'm so sorry that was wrinkly. I just grabbed the basket. I should have done some ironing. I didn't. I'm sorry. Okay. Every opening flower. That was number 16. Okay. And then number 17 is not in the basket because I put on there that to organize my studio. So if perhaps when that number 17, which would be E17, is called, I will take the time to do some deep cleaning and organizing. I know that when that number's called, I'm going to underneath my I have a 6-foot table that it was a folding table, and I created 3/4 of the top of it. I made it a big board, and it's a big giant ironing board, and then there's a cutting board underneath to the side. I can scoot it down and have the whole top as a cutting board. And then my my sewing table over there that you have seen, it had, both of those tables have skirts around them, and underneath of it I use it for storage. And so if the first time that gets called, if it gets called more than once, I'll do this more than once, but I plan on, when it gets called, I'm going to empty underneath of there and do some purging and cleaning, because I have, under the sewing table, I have all of my scrap bins, and you know, I've started to try to do a little bit of Lori Holt's organization. I don't think that'll work for everything, but I am trying to do that, and I have drawer units under there that have linen in them, and I have some drawer units that have charts under them. I know that those charts, I'm going to buy a filing cabinet, a regular wooden filing cabinet, and I'm going to file my patterns by designers that aren't kitted up. And so I know that that's going to completely come out from under there. So anyway, that would be number 17, would be organize my studio. So that's the plan, is under those two tables. And when that gets called and that gets done, I'll take pictures, I'll take video, take you along with me. Okay, and then spot number 18 is the American sampler. Carrie made my bag for me, and we started this together at Amana at the fall retreat. This is by Plum Street Samplers. I absolutely love it. I was inspired to stitch this because Rachel from Needle and Flax was sitting across from me at the spring retreat, and she was stitching it, and I'm just going to say, it's just never the same when you see them in person, and it just was gorgeous. And Carrie had talked about wanting to start it, and I said, I have that completely kitted up. So we decided that we would start it together in Amana, and we did that. And this is the called for threads. This is Northumberland Samplers 40 count oak that I'm stitching that on. I happen to love their linen, you can tell. Haven't worked on it since I was in Amana, but that's halfway across the top border. So the flagpole is right there. And so all I have to do is put the flag, and then the border on the very top is halfway across. But is that fabric beautiful? Beautiful. So that is American Sampler. And it is my number 18. And then I just showed you this on the last video. Number 19 is Dwelling Place by the beautiful Teresa Kogut. What a beautiful, beautiful sampler. I love it, and I love the story about her husband and her were having a conversation about the color of that grass, and she says, well, that's just Kentucky bluegrass. I love that. So anyway, my dear friend Beth, the Red Cross Stitcher, she had said that she was going to start this, and I started along with her. I'm doing all the called for DMCs, and this fabric is, I think it's just another sampler. One more reproduction, excuse me, by Be Stitch Me, and it's 40 count. And I've got the corners started on that. And I showed you that on the last video. So the Dwelling Place by Teresa Kogut is my number 19. Okay, and the next item is number 20, and it is from Lottie Da. And it is called Awake My Soul and Sing. My son bought me a complete kit. He went down. This is the one that my son went down and bought me my birthday gift. And he said to one of the ladies at the counter at Keepsakes, I need you to go get the owner. And they brought Barbara up, and Barbara came up, and he said, I need your help. I need to buy a birthday gift for my mom. And he said, this is who my mom is, and he has done this before. and they proceeded to choose this, and I think Barbara did a fantastic job. I did not have this, and I love the hymn Awake My Soul and Sing, and it was a perfect choice for me. And it is a combination of Belle Soie silks, classic colorwork, Gast, and 2 weeks dye works, 1 DMC. And so that is the threads for it. It is going to be stitched on 40 count Mystic, all the things. It is not started, but it's in there, so I will start it. So I think that Barbara did a phenomenal job. Look, she did so good. And I want to stitch this, and I'm going to put my son's initials on this and the year that he was born. So, and then of course on the back it will have on the placket on the back, I put little notes for, it'll say that upon my departure, it is to go to my son. So I do those things. Do you do those things? I have samplers and stitching in the house, and I like to put the labels on the back that tell the details about it. That way in posterity, if for some reason it ends up at Goodwill, someone will know the stitcher and the story behind it. And but also as well, I mark on there who they belong to on that great day when I depart this earth. And so this is going to go to my Michael, and his initials and the year of his birth will go on this because he sweetly bought me that. Okay, the next one, number 21, is from one of my favorite people on the planet Earth, Miss Sylvia. From Running with Needles and Scissors. This was one of my favorites of the whole entire market last year. It is Beloved. Isn't she gorgeous? And her designer is awfully gorgeous right in here in the heart too. Sylvia is one of my favorite people and one of my favorite lunch dates. And I am stitching this with the Victoria Clayton silks. Oh, look! I found my Kohana scissors. Those need to come out of there. Oh, and my little needle book. Oh, what you'll find when you dig inside here, huh? Yeah? So this is filled with all of the Victoria Clayton silks. And they're gorgeous. And this is where I'm at. Let's see. That would be like this. So I've worked a little bit down. And I know that this is Steinbeck from Needle and Flax. And I think that it is 36 or 40 count. I think I've got the bag in here. I can't believe I tucked a pair of Kohanas and left them in a bag. No, 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 no. I'm looking for my bag for the linen. I have a bunch of Sylvia in this bag. When I'm stitching, I'll stick all of my favorite things into one bag. Do you ever do that? That way I can just move from one to the next. I know this is 36 or 40. I believe it's 40 count Steinbeck. But I do know it's the, you know what? Let me flip over the chart because I know it's the called for. No, she did 46, so it's 40. It's not 46. I know that for sure. So that is Beloved by Running with Needles and Scissors. If you haven't stitched any of Sylvia's charts, you need to do that. She's a phenomenal designer. She's got some, sometimes she picks some quirky things, and some of them, I like Sylvia, the Bad Angels. Really, if you know, you know. Okay, and the next item up on number 22 on the heifer board is Feast of Friendship by Blackbird Designs. I picked up, everyone was stitching this, Holly Neal, two needles pulling thread, Missy Timberlake, everybody Christy from the Floss Boss and Cousins, everybody started stitching it, and the sentiment, Feast of Friendship, room at the table, was, Missy had talked about the room at the table, Sal, and so I jumped right on in on that, and this is Feast of Friendship. And this is where I'm at, hanging threads. And let me see, this is 36 or 40 as well. 36 count fiber on a whim affogato is what my linen is. And I have a combination of DMCs, Gentle Arts, yeah, DMCs and Gentle Arts. Let's see, was that the called for? Maybe, well, I think I used the DMCs where I didn't have the Gentle Arts because I know I pulled from stash. So, anyway, it's called for, whether it was that or the DMC. So, anyhow, that is Feast of Friendship by Blackbird Designs. Love, love, love that. And that was number 22 on the board. And then this next time, do you love this bag? Is that the cutest? This bag came from So Much to Love, and I just think those thimbles are just the cat's meow. This is Summer at Hollyberry Farms. This is a restart. I stitched quite a bit of the border on this. Let me show it to you. Summer at Hollyberry Farms. I love the American flag. I love the bunting in the house. I love the border. Love everything about this. This is from Stacy Nash Designs. I am using all of the called for colors. And as I said, this is a restart. This is all the colors. I had started this on another fabric, and I couldn't even make myself stitch on it. I don't know if it was the color, I don't know if it was the feel, and I kept trying and trudging with this, and I hated it. So I just ditched it, and I have not started again, but I am going to stitch it on 40 count hog bristle from Fox and Rabbit. and I think I'm going to be much happier. I actually think that the majority of my issue was the color of the other linen, but I don't think I liked. Do you ever just start stitching and you're like, I hate this? It's like this needle and this fabric just are not friends. And it was a combination of that and the color. And so, you know what? I was like, no, I'm not doing that. There's another piece that just recently Carrie had put together, that beautiful sampler by Teresa Kogut, and kitted up with silks. And I showed it recently on, I think it was the last video. It was part of my Christmas present from her. And I felt so guilty. I didn't want to say anything, but I hated the fabric. It was the same thing. It was not the color. It was the drag and it was just tough to stitch on. And so I'm doing the sewing method, you know, I don't need it to be a loose linen. It needs to not fight me. And so Carrie said, hey, what do you think of that linen? I went, oh, I don't know. What do you think of that linen? She goes, I hate it. And I said, oh, thank God you said that. I hate it too. So, but I finished the whole center heart. And so she said, well, I'm going to finish. She had started hers and she said, I'm going to finish my heart. So we have decided we're going to cut our hearts out and make a pillow, a pin cushion or something. I'm going to have a finish of that when you see me again, because we just made this decision. And so I'm going to cut that out and we're switching linens. I ordered in a half yard of linen, and it was, well, I didn't order it in. My friend Holly Neal was up at shopping, and she said, hey, they've got a bunch of Lakeside up here, Shellie. Just out of the blue, just a normal day. Isn't it wonderful when your stitchy friends just are loving on you? She's at Craft Gallery, the whole works. She was at Situate, and she's like, all I could do was think of you. I just want to know, do you want some? And I'm like, yeah, I do. So I got a half a yard of some Lakeside, and it's going to be a perfect for that. So the same thing happened with this one. Just couldn't stand that fabric. And so this hasn't even been started with this new linen, so that will be that. So moral of telling you that little bit of a squirrel rabbit trail was, you know, it's okay. Don't suffer. We need to enjoy the stitch. So it's okay. That one, there wasn't anything I could do with what I had stitched on it, so I just ditched the effort. But the one from Teresa Kogut, I just finished that motif, and so it's perfect for a pen pillow, so at least I get something from it, but it doesn't matter. I would rather ditch it than suffer, because then I don't think you'd have really good thoughts of it if you just kept on stitching on something you hated. You might like the design, but that fabric and you are going to be like enemies. So anyway, I digress. Let's get back to the hoverboard. Okay, that was Summer at Hollyberry Farms from Stacy Nash, and Hog Bristle, 40 count Hog Bristle from Fox and Rabbit. And okay, so number 24, we're almost to the end of the basket. A lot of you have sent me notes and said, oh, Shellie, this looks like you, this looks like you. And I've told every single person, I already bought it, because of course it did. It's the Mill House by Kathy Barrick. Of course I'm going to stitch Kathy Barrick's gorgeous mill house to stick in my mill house. I love it. And look at the mill on the back. Don't you just love it? And it's got a butterfly, so it's got all kind of dual purposes. I bought all of the called for DMCs, and I am going to stitch this on 40 count Lakeside vintage light exemplar. So isn't that going to be pretty? Very, very pretty, very pretty. So that's the Mill House by Kathy Barrick, and that was slot 24 on my hoverboard. And then last but not least, this is something that's on, this was the last one. It was R25 was called for the hoverboard. And this is by Leela's Studio, The Lord's Prayer. And this is in my basket. Love it. It's so pretty. I'm going to hang that up. Lickety split as soon as I can get it done. All the called for DMCs. I like to stick them in this bag until I bought these from Amazon. You can get a box of like 50 or 100 of these. Brenda from Brenda and the Cereal Starter showed these, and I bought these on Amazon, and I love them because when you're using all these DMCs, look, I just write on there. If you write with pencil, you can reuse them, but they're so cheap. I just wrote on them with pen and just throw my thread on there, and that you just cut a slice off. So all the called for DMCs. And then this is 40 count fiber on a whim affogato. And that is the top right corner with hanging threads. I heard somebody say the other day, I'm not going to apologize for my threads. I'm not. Neither are you, because you know what? That's what it's there for, is to stitch with. So this one is in, this is in call right this moment. So that is number 25 in the end of my heifers. So wasn't that fun? We dug in one of the baskets, and I enjoyed it. You know, I know it sounds silly, but when I dig in my project library or I dig in my baskets, I just feel like I'm visiting my friends. And so that's really fun. And see, what did I say? I wrote an article for the Queen City Sampler Guild, and this one got by me. It was tucked in that bag. Who knew that I had my kohanas stuck in that bag? I went through and purged everything, and I missed these. I have decided, instead of, I have all these scissors and supplies, etc. Look at that little needle book. Isn't that just precious? Just precious. Yeah, that doesn't need to be stuck in that bag. If I was a monogamous stitcher, it would be different. But I am carrying a case with me so that I carry the one case and not lock up all my supplies into all my project bags. You know, that way you don't forget your pretty red kohanas. I can hear Chrissy, the floss boss and cousin, just having herself a good laugh and saying, girlfriend, what's your problem? Get those scissors out of that bag. So anyway, we found them together. There they are. So anyway, friends, that was fun, wasn't it? So you got to have a little peek at what is in one of my baskets, and that was a good way to start. And we're going to do this again. I'm going to take you through the next to the couch basket. I have a next to the recliner basket, and we'll also do cubes in the project library. I think it's a fun way to break it up and get to see little things. You know, we all wonder what's in each other's what's in your baskets, and so that's what's hanging out in there for right now. And so those are definitely, each and every one of those, the 24 items in there, because the one item was to organize the studio. And so yeah, you got to see what is 100% going to get touched this year. Each and every one of these items will be worked on, and they will be that much farther along, and I'm really, really excited. I've never been interested, wouldn't even entertain even learning about anything like this. WIPGO, I know that Missy and them do the Boss Me board, which is Boston, Maine is what that stands for. I thought it was bossing you until she explained it one day. But and so Christy and Callie, they've put together heifer. It's all the same thing. It's just to help a girl out. And so I really have embraced it, and it's I'm really excited. I have had multiple finishes already, and we're only halfway through the month, just a little over halfway through the month. And so I think that it's helped. So it might be an idea for you. So if you want to know more about that, go over to the Floss Boss and Cousins and check out their videos. They also have a Facebook group called the Floss Boss and Cousins. Do remember to answer the questions, and there's community there and fun, and keeps you in order a little bit, helps you get a little bit farther along. And so with that, I'm all finished for the day. I sure have had a good time stopping and just sitting down with my friends and visiting for a while. I hope you enjoyed seeing what was in my basket. And until I see you again, I wish you many happy stitches, my friends. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.